Hello Glamour Ghouls and welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Midge Munster, and on this channel we do all things campy, kooky, glamorous, and spooky. Today I'm taking you out on another travel vlog. Y'all really seem to enjoy when I take you along on my spooky travels. And this last week I was visiting a friend in Denver, Colorado, and was so beautifully surprised by all the fun and spooky and weird things to do out there. So of course I took a lot of footage of all the fun stuff I did. I honestly didn't even get to all the things on my list, and I'm sure there are a million things outside of that as well that there are to do. But this is a good little sample platter of some of the fun things there are to do out in Denver. So I hope you enjoy, and be sure to stick around until the end of the video. We will do a haul of my spooky wares from this trip. But until then, please enjoy this spooky footage of colorful Denver, Colorado.
It's a beautiful day to go to wonderful, colorful Colorado.
So I am in Denver visiting Richie, and our first stop is at Scream and Sugar Coffee Co. This is a horror-themed coffee shop, and there is an attached horror store called Horrid next door. They are connected on the inside as well, and I loved this mural of all the horror icons drinking their different coffees. The inside of the shop is super cute. It is definitely decorated for horror lovers, and they have a really fun menu. I was so excited about all of these, but especially the Orlock's Obsession, which is what I ordered, and then Richie actually got the perfect pair, which was the Twin Peaks themed latte. And here is my lavender Orlock latte. It was very good. They have horror movies playing, and they have books and games and things you can look through while you're hanging out. It's very spooky and cozy in here. Then we headed next door to the shop. This was a lot of fun. They've got a lot of horror memorabilia, art. They also make their own candles and perfume oils, and they've got, of course, some fun props around. I'm still honestly regretting not buying this crocheted Pennywise and their allies.
Jason.
Then we went on a little exploration of the shops around this area, starting with Angelo's Vinyl. This was a pretty nice record shop. They have a good selection. I got a few things here. Then we walked around back of Scream and Sugar to the Brutal Poodle. This is technically like a bar, I guess, but it has kind of a goth / punk theme. But what I was not expecting is we ended up having lunch here, and y'all, the food at this place has no business being this good. It is so delicious. I got the guarled cheese, if you know the band Guar. And then Richie actually got kind of a pho dish, which you wouldn't think this would be the place to get pho, but both of our dishes were absolutely delicious. So if you are looking for a quick spot of lunch, the Brutal Poodle is a great place to drop in. Next, we just headed down South Broadway to a few stores I wanted to check out. The first was this 5280s. Y'all, this store is a blast from the friggin' past. As you can see, they've got all kinds of toys and memorabilia and collectibles. It was just so fun. But for those of us who are Halloween lovers, it was also really cool because they had a lot of spooky toys. So many things from when we were kids, and lots of like Munsters and Addams Family memorabilia, as well as different horror things. It was so fun to look through, so nostalgic. And if you're into like trading cards at all, they have every trading card imaginable. And right next door, we headed into Regal Vintage. Richie's friend actually texted us and was like, be sure to check out Regal. And we were walking by it in that moment. And thankfully, they told us to pop in. This place was so weird in a great way. They had all kinds of great vintage clothes, but also just weird other vintage items. It was super fun to dig through, and we tried on a lot of fun hats. What do you got, Richie?
I'm a dragon.
We were just having a blast in here. There was lots and lots to look at. Then we headed down further to this pink building, which is Phoenix Tattoo. But we saw in the window that it said something about antiques and oddities, and we just happened to pop in, and this was actually one of my favorite stops on South Broadway. This weird little oddities booth had so many unique and well-curated items. This is, I believe, Melancholy Moth is the name of the curator here, and definitely worth a stop in. Our next stop was Auditorium. This place is huge. You could be in here literally all day, but it's a really interesting blend of oddities. There's a lot of antiques. They also have an entire section that's just like clothing and memorabilia. Lots of really interesting, almost like theater costume pieces. This was kind of like walking through my theater costume closet back in college. The one thing I will say about this location is that they are proud of their things, which is fine. They've curated a beautiful collection, but things here were definitely more pricey than some of the other places that we went to. If you pop just next door, they have a secondary shop attached to the auditorium, and we would probably not have stopped in there, except the person at Auditorium told us to check out next door, and it's kind of an interiors place, but definitely worth a look around. They have some beautiful home decor and things. It's just very rich and elaborate and beautiful, and has kind of a Victorian flair. Then we went to Fashion Nation. This is a full tilt goth clothing store, and it was fun because they carry a lot of brands that I love to shop with that you just don't see in person that often, except for like maybe in places like Salem. But I found Lively Ghosts, one of my favorites. They had Wax Poetic clothing. That Priscilla pink dress up there that you see is Wax Poetic. There was Hell Bunny and Foxblood. These are literally all brands that I own in my closet. Unique Vintage, Strange Cult shoes, lots of shoe options here. Just a great selection to choose from. And our last little stop was at Boss Vintage. I just had to show you all this rainbow wall of vintage dresses. So we finished up our day of shopping, and that night we were going to this Gaga Mayhem album release party. I guess I should say I was attending. Richie was actually performing in this, and these are some of his friends. Buddy is the DJ, and Vio, the violinist, produced and put on this show, and it was so cool. They had a little bit of everything. They had drag queens performing Gaga, they had live violin. This was just a really cool tribute to Gaga's life and career as a musician, and Richie performed her Olympics opening number, and it was so cute. Overall, this was just a really fun introduction to the queer spaces in Denver. Lots of really good energy and a fun time. The next morning, I had brunch at Champagne Tiger, and this is on Colfax. This is actually where Richie works, which is why I'm here. Hi, Richie. But it was absolutely worth going regardless. The food was delicious. I had the French omelet, and the space is super mid-mod and beautiful. They've kept a lot of the original integrity, and it's just a wonderful place to hang out. Then I was on my own for the afternoon. I went on a little exploring adventure while Richie was at work and ended up at Wax Trax Records. Y'all, this is the place to be. This is the place. If you're looking for records, I was a goop, a gag, a gog, all of the things. When you go to a record store in Kansas City, the punk, post-punk, new, like, wave, dark wave, any of those sections are like 4 records. This place had aisles upon aisles of that. They had this whole section of just Danny Elfman. They had a bunch of like weird stuff. This Rapture rockabilly caught my eye. I don't know. They just had a delightfully weird selection, and they had a whole section that was just Halloween records, which if you're a record collector, you know, normally you have to dig through like the soundtracks or the dollar bins to find one Halloween record, and if that. So this was a jackpot. It was so fun. Next, I headed to the Learned Lemur. This is an oddities shop, and I think also there's a tattoo shop here, but I wanted to check out the oddities situation, and it's smaller than I thought it would be, but it's really cool. They've got this cute little smallest apothecary, and y'all, ooh, I am still thinking about this casket. Look at her. Stunning. Looks like a Valentine's chocolate box. But yeah, this place was super cute, and this table was so cool. They've got a Ouija table with a planchette that moves by itself. Super fun. I got a few things here, and then headed on to the crypt. So now Richie was off work, and we decided to catch the last little bit of the drag brunch at the crypt. And let me tell you what, again, things that Kansas City just doesn't have. We have like 1 or 2 goth queens, maybe. This was an entire show of goth, like traditional goth drag queens, and it was so much fun. This space is so cool and spooky, and you can also like get a drink and eat here. And again, really good food. They have like vegan options and pinball machines. It was super fun. This evening we headed to the Clock Tower Cabaret. This is quite literally in the basement of a historic clock tower in downtown Denver. And this space, y'all, oh, it's so beautiful. If you're a nerd like me and love like Cher's Club in the movie Burlesque, this felt like being there. I obviously couldn't record any of the Burlesque show, but definitely go here if you're in Denver and check out a show. It was phenomenal. The next morning, we went to this cute little service station turned coffee shop, Moonflower Coffee. The interior of this was everything to me. It was like a mix of everything I love. It was a little Victorian, a little mid-mod, like lush but cozy, and simplistic but ornate. I don't know. It was just so beautiful, and the coffee was delicious. And this was kind of our apothecary day. We went to Ritual Craft. This place is gorgeous. It's so beautiful. It's huge. Again, really fun because a lot of the small businesses I love were carried here in store. They've also got a really great curation of antiques and things. I had never seen a felted mourning wreath like that before in that little shadow box up there. That was so cool. And this little antique birthday calendar book I just fell in love with. But they carried a lot of cool things. This Atropos Curios had really cool taxidermy, and I've never seen people do like those cabinet cards with the flowers and bugs in them. I thought that was gorgeous. But yeah, they've got everything you could want. Jewelry, perfume, they carry Heretic, which was really exciting. Jewelry they carry While Odin Sleeps. This is Open Sea Design Co. Just, again, lots of small businesses that I love and shop with regularly. It was cool to see them here on the shelves. And they have just about every tarot deck you could want or look for. But they also have their own line of things. This is an apothecary shop, so they have the ability to like order from the apothecary. You can get a custom something or other, but they also had these pre-made incense blends and teas. That was really cool. And then finally we headed over to the terrarium. Y'all, look at this. Just look at it. This shop was like something out of a book. I don't even know how to describe it. It was so beautiful. This is owned by a husband and wife who are a team. One of them does like a lot of the more terrarium like displays of bones and flowers and moths and things, and then the husband does like actual work with the big pieces of taxidermy and the bones. So they just have this gorgeous collection. Absolutely beautiful. There's so much to look at here. That raccoon on the scythe is me. That's who I am actually as a person. And they, on top of the beautiful taxidermy, they also had a live friend in the shop that I'll show here in a minute as well. This is your warning that I am going to show a live snake. If anybody has a snake thing. But it was this beautiful little guy. Look at him. And he is luminescent, I believe is what they call it. So he's not quite albino, but he has like a luminescent quality. He's beautiful. We spent the evening at Buddy's house. And Buddy, I found out, has a pet black widow. So this is Veronica. And she is waving to everyone. Hi, Veronica. And also goodbye to Denver. It looks like my ride is here, so let's head back to KC and do a little haul. And welcome back to KC. So that Denver trip was really great. Saw a lot of really cool places, as you saw. I truly was just so blown away by the amount of spooky things and access to subculture and music and art that is just thriving in Denver. If you live within driving distance, it's definitely worth a little weekend pop to Denver and just go see some of these. I didn't even cover everything like that I had on my list going into Denver. I wanted to like do Meow Wolf and eat at Linger. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff I didn't even get to. But luckily, since I have friends there, I'll be back, but I hope this gives you a great starting point of some fun things to do if you are in Denver for a weekend. As always with my travel vlogs, I wanted to do a quick little haul of the goods that I got while I was shopping around these local businesses. And we're just gonna start with something I'm wearing. I don't know if you can see at your distance, but I think I showed these in the footage. These were a vendor at the Clock Tower Cabaret that had earrings, and specifically what she specialized in was these wire beaded spider earrings. That was so crazy to me that that just happened to be what, like, the one vendor that was there was for spider earrings. So I got two pair, the ones I'm wearing that are like a pink and yellow combination to kind of fit my more mod outfits. And then I did just get the plain like black version as well. These are just stunning. They're so fun. Yeah, I'm absolutely obsessed with these. I've had those for a week, I think, and I've basically worn the black ones 3 times and I've worn these twice. So get ready to see me exclusively wearing spider earrings from this point forward. This is just something kind of fun that is very like specific to me. I've been very interested lately. I've made a friend who runs a green burial cemetery, and I wasn't really familiar with the concept of green burial. And then I went to a class. The Kansas City Public Library held a class about basically the environmental impact of the funeral industry and about like the positive aspects of green burial. And I went to that class. It's just something I've been very interested in recently. And so I was at Learned Lemur, that oddity shop I showed you with the beautiful casket that I'm still thinking about. But at Learned Lemur, there was this little zine called Rot and Roll. And it's about natural burial in the funeral industrial complex by Maggot O'Gray. And it's so fun. It's like a graphic novel zine with information about green burial. And I just think this is so fun and fascinating. And it has some really good information in it. And I've been kind of collecting information, both for my own interest, weird thing, I guess, to talk about maybe, but I am finding that this is, I think, what I want for myself in my like death plans. I think I want a green burial. And so I'm both learning for my own sake, but also I really want to do a podcast episode about this on Ghouls Night In. So I thought I'd collect as much different information, source material as possible. So I'm really excited to sit down and read through all of this. Also, while we're on the topic of the podcast, I think at the time of this video releasing, there's a new episode out. Maybe not. It might be coming out the following Tuesday after you see this. But I did learn a really wild history about Denver's Cheeseman Park. And let's just say those crazy Victorians, wild like cemetery mishandling, city project, crazy bones sticking out. Just go listen to the podcast. This was one of my most like fascinating things I've learned about in a long time. And I like got home and immediately had to record a podcast episode about it because I was so fascinated with this history. So if you, like I said, if you're seeing this now, it's either already out or it's coming out Tuesday. If you're seeing this Friday, it'll be Tuesday. So keep an eye for that and go listen. I'll link Ghouls Night in the description. Okay, this was just a fun little thing. When I showed you that store 5280s, that was like all childhood memorabilia and crazy like toy collection. They just had so much cool stuff. That store is a positively like just blast from the past, memory lane, like walking through the shelves and finding like, oh my God, I had this like toy when I was a kid and I forgot about it. It's just really like nurturing to the soul, I feel like, to have that level of nostalgia around you. So I highly recommend checking out that store because it was super, super fun. They had just like trading cards out the ass, like pardon me, but like everywhere, like any show, movie, whatever you can imagine, they had trading cards for it. And so they had, these are from, what did it say, 1997? And they're Munsters trading cards. And I was like, well, obviously, obviously I have to do that. There's 6 cards. And it says, look for randomly inserted lenticular and autograph cards. Very, very fun. Oh, I got 2 packs and they were like $5 or $6. And I did open one already. And then I figured we can open one together on camera. But they're really cute. They're like different screenshots from the show. And then like the back says, like Grandpa's spell, one of the Munsters' favorite pastimes was to gather around the organ and pump out a few old-fashioned tunes, such as Camptown races. In one episode, Grandpa decided to halt Herman's musical exploits and shoot a nothing muffin down his golden throat in order to ruin his singing abilities. And so it has kind of like, I thought they were all going to be just like characters, but they're kind of like moments or snippets, and some of them are in color. We've got Lily and Herman playing the harp together and singing. I've got a grandpa one. And this is my favorite. This is the Yvonne DiCarlo, and it's the only like horizontal card in the batch. but she's like looking through a spider web. So that's my favorite. And that one just says Yvonne DiCarlo on the Munsters, and then it has like a quote from her. So this is the pack I haven't opened yet. Okay. Ooh, Munster trivia. What episode did the Munsters coach make its debut? I have no idea. Episode 4, Rockabye Munster. Bonus question. Episode 48, A Man for Marilyn. Name the coffee shop Marilyn leaves at the end of the program. Oh my gosh, I have no idea. I just rewatched the Munsters too. That's so funny. Lamplighter. Oh, cool. So this is one of the fancy cards, and this is so fun. It's Marilyn, and it's like a shift between the two actors. If you're not familiar, they switched Marilyns. So that's really fun that it goes back and forth between Marilyns. And I love that she's the special card because that's like why my name is Munster, is because I always related to Marilyn because she looked really like normal, but she was really weird. And so she's kind of she's my hero. I love Marilyn Munster. Oh, fun. Okay, so we've got just like a family shot. We've got the coach. Oh, and this says England or bust, so that's probably from the film, actually. That's funny. Oh, there's a lot of good ones of like good stuff about the coach and the Dragula in here. Oh, this one's cool. Munster Collectibles. Pictured in this photo is Mr. Kevin Burns. Mr. Burns has been a Munsters fan since 1964 and has amassed the world's largest collection of Munster memorabilia. That's so cool. So this guy has a massive Munsters collection. Very, very cool. Trading cards were like the OG mystery pack. You know, now every like kid's toy or those like little keychains from Spirit or whatever, it's all like, ooh, which one of 6 things are you gonna get? It's very trendy now, but that's trading cards, baby. This is from Ritual Craft, which is one of the last places that I showed you. Little apothecary, not little actually by any means, but an apothecary shop. Lots of very, very cool stuff, well curated, lots of small businesses that I support carried in store. But they did have like an actual apothecary where you could order, you know, an anointed spell candle or a special tea blend or what have you. But they did have some pre-made options, and this one is a tea blend called Persephone's Return. And I was really excited about that because we're coming up on spring equinox. And I thought this would be really great to brew for Persephone's Return. So this has nettle, milk thistle, passion flower, dandelion, hibiscus, pomegranate seeds, of course, and chrysanthemum. And I haven't brewed it yet, but I'm very excited about it. Y'all know I don't mean to do that, but I do tend to get tea when I travel. Like, I came back from Salem with like 5 types of tea. This has a very like rich smell, like very earthy, but not in a damp, like musty way. You can kind of see the blend, but it's a lot of tea. Yeah, I'm excited to brew that. Actually, in like 2 days, the 20th is the equinox, so almost time for that. And then the big thing we have to go through is the records that I bought. As you saw, lots of amazing record shops in Denver. I didn't even scratch the surface on Denver record stores, but Wax Trax was amazing. I will definitely be going back there again and again. I think they have like one of the best selections I've ever seen. And I did go crazy buying records. I have collected records since high school. I have a pretty like, I don't have like a massive collection, but I have a really good smattering of things. However, a lot of what I bought when I was younger was like show tunes because I was a theater kid. I also have Barbra Streisand's entire discography on vinyl. And of course, I have been collecting anytime I find spooky albums, especially when you find like old 1950s or 60s, like Halloween sounds vinyls that are like, stereo sounds to make you shiver, like those kinds of pieces I'm very, very interested in. And I found a ton in Denver. A lot of them are represses, but I don't care. I'm just excited to have them. So we're gonna quickly go through what I got. I will say at the time of your viewing this video, there is already a video on Patreon of me going through these albums and listening to them and kind of sampling what's on them. We've done one of those on Patreon before. I love to do them over there because I can, like I can't really sample those here on YouTube without getting copyright strikes, but we can check those out together over on Patreon, and I love to do it. So if you want to hear what's going on any of these albums, you can check out my Patreon in the description box below. It's $6 a month, and it really helps support this channel and help me continue to make free content here. So anyway, the first couple were from Angelo's, the first record place I showed you. I found Andrew Gould's Halloween album, which if you know Halloween, you know Andrew. He's the Spooky Scary Skeletons guy. So this is the album, but it's got a lot of stuff on it. Got a lot of good songs on here. This one I'm so excited to listen to. I have no idea what to expect. It's called Jad and David Fair Halloween Songs. And what drew me to it was this crazy like art style. It's a little bit Trick or Treat, the movie. It's a little bit like a book series I loved as a kid that had this weird art. But here's what really got me. Here's the little like description on here. It says, "Rip up your movie tickets and park your car, Daddy. There are 21 new reasons to stay home. If Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi wrote songs, they would have sounded like this." I said, say less. I'm all in. Okay, so these are the ones that I adore. These are the like shock, terror, fear. These are the ones from the 60s. And this one is not actually from the 60s. It's a repress. But the music is made in the 60s. I believe it said 1968. Hold on, where did I see that? Where did I see that? Oh, 1965. It's right there. So, yeah, and it says this is the first reissue of any kind of this album. So that's really fun. And this is Frankie Stein and his Ghouls, which we got to jump to another album real quick. This is also Ghoul music, Frankie Stein and his Ghouls. And this one, the record store owner had circled the band Frankie Stein and his Ghouls and written, maybe, might be, Dwayne Eddy, Max Greger, and members of the Blues Project, ? And then in parentheses, Dylan, Velvet Underground, Zappa. So it's very possible that some of these songs are done by very famous musicians that were just operating under like this Frankie Stein and his Ghouls for the purpose of releasing kind of an anonymous Halloween album, and I love that. Okay, another repress of a favorite of mine, At Home with Screamin' Jay Hawkins. I love Screamin' Jay. He is the original goth rocker. He like literally created goth music, basically. Again, a person I want to do a huge episode about on the pod. But yeah, this is a great sampling of a lot of his music. And again, limited edition clear vinyl. Your copy is $465 of 500. Very, very cool. Okay, another just fun, funky, Halloween-y situation. We've got Something Weird on stage. Spooktacular Spectacle. I loved the graphic art on this. So much fun. Again, 17 songs per side, which is a lot for a vinyl. You know, usually you get 5 maybe per side on an older pressing. But this is very, very cool. From the 1930s until the 1970s, a popular form of entertainment quaintly called the ghost show enthralled America. Traveling magicians and illusionists went on the road and added horror elements to their regular, often predictable stage acts. And this was really cool because it came with like a zine and a DVD. I don't know. I'm so excited to explore whatever's happening here. I think it's a bit of a collection of like people's acts from shows, like the verbal pressing of that, but it has some music thrown in. I don't know. This will be very, very fun for me to explore. And then the last spooky one I got, again, no idea what to expect with this. I was just very excited about it. Psychobilly Christmas. I love gothabilly and psychobilly music, so this was an easy win for me. And it's pretty much just bands covering Christmas songs, but in a psychobilly manner. And it's got like good musicians on it. It's got Reverend Horton Heat. It's got the Merry Widows, Coffin Caddies. So yeah, overall, very, very hyped about that. And then just a couple for my personal tastes collection. I have been looking for a Bikini Kill album, and you can't find them in Kansas City for some reason. And Wax Trax had like 6 Bikini Kill albums. So I got this one, very excited. And it has several unreleased songs on it. But this has just some really good classics. Jigsaw Youth, Rebel Girl. And if you like punk music and you don't know Bikini Kill, get into it. Get into Kathleen Hanna. She's also in La Tigra, if you like that band. And then just Self-Indulgence. This is the original self-titled B-52s album. I am such a huge B-52s fan. Probably one of my favorite bands. And this is just classic. Planet Claire, Rock Lobster, Dance This Mess Around. Just some of the good old OGs, and I do not actually own any B-52s on vinyl, so I was really excited about this as well. So there you have it, my little spooky, fun Denver haul, my Denver travel guide, at least part 1. I'm sure there will be more in the future. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did and you'd like to hang out with me again sometime, be sure to subscribe to the channel before you leave today. And like I said, if you'd like more content from me, be sure to check out my podcast and my Patreon in the description box below. I hope that you all have a lovely rest of your day, and until next time, keep it campy, kooky, glamorous, and spooky. Bye!